Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We left off on a pretty key moment last time. On a key testimony, I should say. We pressed through everything, and there was not an immediate solution, as far as I can see. But I get the feeling that we're nearing the end of this whole experience. So I imagine we want to be pretty careful with what we present. I mean, we have a decent amount of health, so it's not nothing too much to worry about, but still. Now let's see. So go through the testimony. Okay, sorry. Okay, so he stabs the Englishwoman. The very fact that proves he's innocent. Why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. It has nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison. The point is, if you poison someone, there'd be no reason to then go and stab the person as well. I mean, Statement 2 and Statement 5 are kind of the same thing. So I'm wondering which I should present at. I mean, the fifth statement here is kind of a new one. So you would, think that you would want to present whatever evidence you need to present here. But like I said, they kind of express the same sentiment, so I'll start with this one anyway. Now let's see. Do we have something that can prove why you'd want to do that? Now I remember our dad said that between him poisoning, if he's the one who poisoned, well, presumably he is the one who poisoned Giselle, and then stabbed her. The only thing that changed is that he overheard what the two of them were talking about in regards to the poison being stolen. Yeah, he only got that information after he had already, presumably, poisoned her. So he presumably he didn't fully know what the poison did or how effective it was. But at the same time, I'm not really sure how that fits in, or like what I would present to, object to that. I don't know, because, It was created in strict secrecy and exists only in my father's laboratory. Then we have the murder weapon, which was denied. Well, we say is it technically the murder weapon if she was poisoned? See, that's what I was getting at before, like, if someone is poisoned and is already about to die, like, I'm pretty sure if you still stab them, to do the job, like, you could say they argued, there'd be an argument, I guess, if, did they die of the poisoning, or did they die of the stabbing? Which is why I don't think he would be, like, scot-free, or even if everything he said was true. Is there anything special about this? Because, like, we haven't had an opportunity to present this, I don't think. And yeah, okay, that indicates what the poison is. Or it identifies the poison, because otherwise there's no way to identify it. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Okay, so he overheard the conversation about. Okay, I know this is not exactly super riveting, entertaining, jokey jokes or whatever, but I'm just trying to, like, think it over in my mind. So, if he heard about what the poison did, well, no, okay. So there was like the discussion that at here with Sozeki-san, where he asked about the poison, and Yujin explained that it was, you know, deadly and bad, but didn't go into detail. And then there was the article about the poison that was stolen, presumably from Miss Brett or whomever. And then, but he only wrote this article after he had heard the exchange between Ray and Giselle. Why would he do that? And then there's a reagent, which, as far as I know, he wouldn't know about because, because like I said, it's been created in strict secrecy and exists only in our father's laboratory. So, presumably, yeah, he wouldn't know about that, but he would know about how the poison works. Again, now I feel like it's not. I'm just kind of going over what I should go, what to do, you know? Okay, so if we go back and look at the poison article, it specifically mentions via a wound from a poison-laced blade. And I'm guessing, I feel like that might be it. Like, I'm not saying saying this with 100% certainty, but it seems like that's sort of the hint. Like maybe he wanted us to think it was a stabbing, like it was a cut and dry stabbing case. But no, that doesn't add up either, because it's specifically the poison. Then again, like, I don't know. Lacing your blade with poison seems a little dumb. Again, it's because, like, oh, if you stab someone in the stomach and they bleed out, does it matter if the blade was poisoned? Like, unless it's like, oh, you cut their, like, thumb, or you give them, like, a paper cut, or something like that, and and then it was laced with poison, then sure, but, like, if you're already stabbing someone in the back, like, it's a good way of murdering someone, you know? The poison's just kind of gravy, you know? Either way, I feel like this is the right track. I don't know exactly where it's leading me or what exactly it means, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Objection! Oh, hey, well, looks like I was right. I'm big brain, smart guy. That's my Ace Attorney name. I'm smartest man who ever lived. Just call me Ozymandias. Well, I can think of one reason. What? What? But before I explain, I'd like to confirm something for the court. Also, yeah, this is like one reason why sometimes it's good to just go off hunches, because even if you don't know exactly why something is the way that it is in an Ace Attorney game, like then they kind of give you the answer, or like once they explain it, it becomes more obvious. So yeah, sometimes it's good to just throw stuff out there if it feels right, you know, if it's like a hunch, you know. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course he did. There can be no question of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness, Mimbami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Brett's drink. Oh yeah, I guess there is that. See, I didn't even think about that part of it, but they kind of tell you that once you've gotten he presented the right thing. So yeah, good thinking, Ryotaro. You're smarter than I am. Where are you going with this, counsel? Minimemo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant had somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Oh yeah, there's that too. I mean, like he implied that, you know, she was the one who did the poisoning, but he didn't specifically say like, oh yeah, I saw her poison her drink, or you know, take a photo of it, right? You know, like, you think that's what he would take a photo of? Gah. Which means that Miss Brett couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. Okay, I don't see how all this information we could have gleaned from just presenting the poison article, but okay. I guess we're talking about poison. Poison's like the main subject. Poison, yeah, we're all about poison right now. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Minbami-san entered the hut. Yes. Very articulately put. When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Brett about the poison. At which point, Minimoto-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in his newspaper article. Namely, also again, I feel like maybe he was kind of a dumb idea to write the story in the first place. Like, I get he's a reporter and, you know, about the scoops and whatnot, but like, if you've done a murder, you probably don't want to write like an article with your name on it about poison, the way you killed someone, just like publicly announced it to God and everyone, you know? Namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy, and that it couldn't be readily attained. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could have come from is my lab. And furthermore, anyone inflicted by the poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. Oh, like the pupil thing. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Oh, that's okay. See, that's the part that wasn't quite clicking with me, like, but I guess that makes sense, you know? Like, it's not like with the curare, where, like, it straight up just didn't, like, the Japanese government just didn't even know it was a thing. Like, it was just, you know, in the basic research phases, so, like, it would be almost undetectable, but when you consider the thing about the discussion that, you know, Mikotoba had with Sozeki about the poison and stuff, and there's only a certain amount of people in the room, so I mean, yeah, that makes more sense now that they explain it. Ah! Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious deed. Minbami-san being no exception. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered the unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. Wait, what? Ha! In other words, someone like you, right in Mini Memo? Yeah! It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. You quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. Yeah, because I guess it would go back to the people who were in the lab when he. Wait, no, what did though? I mean, I don't know. Does that add up? Because like Mikotomo only said that, didn't explain the unique properties. He just said that it was like a bad toxin. I mean, I guess. I don't know. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learnt of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involved stabbing the victim in the back through the read screen. But what good could that possibly do? I mean, because it seems like, I mean, well, I know we initially thought it was a stabbing death, but like, I feel like it eventually would have been, because of the people thing, you know, it would have been, Okay, maybe I just let them explain. The plan was to kill Miss Brett before the poison could take effect. Oh, okay. I guess that makes some sense. Like, once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, hadn't he? Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected. But then, there's still the fact that if he, like, stabbing someone is still bad, and if it, like, I mean, I guess that's why he was trying to frame it on Ray initially, but, this is extraordinary. Yes. The effects of the poison meant that it would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. Gah. Gah. Order! 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 The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward? Well, there are a number of, I mean, yes, I counted completely. The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtured the remnants of his top knot, he is clinging to lost hope. Damn, roast his ass. Lost hope? And slay, as it were. Oh damn, he just threw his hat. Gah! You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai! Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? Who are you calling fallen? My burgeoning crisis is on the rise. I don't need a counter-argument. What? What are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. I gave it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Gah. Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here, in my many memos. Every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Shoyu News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed. All visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Blown the story wide open? You see, I, Wrighton Mini-Memo, a mere reporter from the Shore U News, couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. Gah! You know, one thing I think I've seen people point out is that, like, that animation where they get all sprawled out against the back of the courtroom, or like the back of the wall back there, it doesn't exactly make sense in terms of perspective. Cause like they had to be like blown back like fucking like 5 feet for it to like and then fall back, you know. But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definitive evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is a true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country bumpkin? Jeez, thanks for the flattery. I appreciate it. My point is this. There is one way that you, Mini-Memo-san, could have stolen the poison that day. I've heard enough verbal conjecture now, thanks. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question? Let's just, let me just pop that off again. I just want to double check, make sure I'm remembering right. Wait. I thought they said there was like, okay, well. What the? Okay, well, I remember them saying that there was, see look, there's a very small amount of liquid still inside the ink reservoir. So, if the poison, is the poison liquid? I mean, I assume. How many solid poisons are there? But yeah, poison, if it's his fountain pen that belongs to him, the poison might be inside the pen. Because, like it says, there's a very small amount of liquid inside the reservoir. So, I don't know. Take that, as it were. The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. Gah! A fountain pen? How can that possibly be irrelevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. Bah! I swear by a weasel-haired calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. I don't know about that one. Well, as a forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a soup cone of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Fountain pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up to the nib of the pen in order to write with later. What does all this talk of sucking up, oh fuck, ink have, ah! And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word. Can this really be? Oh, it be alright. Well, Mini-Memo-san? Gah. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain pen, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Gah!
Objection!
More absurdity! That never happened! I mean, I don't know if we can exactly prove, but, you know. True. We've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent deaths like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain pen of all places? Yeah, that would be my first guess. No, I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pin was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Minimimo-san. Yeah, but okay, that seems like kind of a dumb maneuver, though. Like, why would you drop your pen if that was the avenue from which you delivered the poison? That seems like something you would take with you. Gah! So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pin dropped? Are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act, whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pin after you emptied the poison from it into her glass. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess, I mean, like, even using a fountain pen to, like, put ink into someone's, well, to put poison, like, that's not exactly, super subtle, so I guess you would have to do it quickly while she wasn't paying attention.
Objection!
There could be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the witness could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it is basically empty, except for that little bit of liquid. What? As you can see for yourself if you examine the evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. What newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen? No. The pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass. Gah! Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? Wah! Okay, whenever they start out they're laughing with a wah, I just think of like Wario and Waluigi. So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? But yeah, to be fair, he does seem to have an infinite supply of pencils. Oh my god, okay, I guess okay, I guess he really does have an infinite supply of pencils. Out here with like fucking Wolverine claws. I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Holy fuck! Gah! Jesus Christ, dude. You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen? That's wild speculation. Nothing more. If you thought that you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that, think again. Huh. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this matter. I mean, yeah, we can't prove that he actually did it, like, with evidence. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. It rests upon whether or not this witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did, with evidence. Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist! I don't know about that one, pal. Minimimo-san, this is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, it's either kill or be killed. Evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you. Very well, then. I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence. This is it, then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove, by means of this item, that it was the witness's pen that was used to steal the poison. Okay, well, I know the answer, but since we're at the end of the trial, and I don't know, it's kind of a pivotal moment. I'm curious as to what dialogue you might get if you just like totally fuck it up. Because as I see it, the reagent is like the right answer, right? Because we can test the pen to see if it had poison left in it, which he doesn't know about because that part was kept in strict secrecy. But yeah, let's just throw out something that we know is fake or know is wrong. Because I'm curious to see what. I mean, you know, the like wrong dialogue answer can sometimes be pretty amusing. You believe that this evidence will prove, beyond doubt, that the witness used his pen to steal the poison? What do you believe, Your Excellency? I believe you are gravely misguided. Misguided? Oh dear. Okay, well that wasn't super funny. My bad. Well, I believe I can do better next time. Okay, fine. Okay, since apparently they don't want to give me fun dialogue. Here, it's a fucking reagent. Present that shit. Shove it in their dumb fucking faces. Counsel, what is that bottle? This bottle contains a unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question. Ah! Yes, that poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method. Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check for traces of the poison. Ah, a reagent? What? One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, Minimimo-san, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt. Gah, gah, gah. No, you can't. I won't. Your crimes are bad enough, but at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, don't let him throw more fucking pins because those bad boys can get pretty sharp. We don't want to have another fucking body. We don't want to have to add to our body count today. The defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this. Trying to hold its head high as a civilized nation. Well, I took up arms in the form of the mighty pen. I fought tirelessly under the name of... Motherfucker. Susato, with me. Holy fuck. Jesus Christ! You didn't even let the man finish. Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryotaro takedown, motherfucker. Jeez. That was surprisingly epic. I'm curious, what the fuck was he saying before? It was going by too fast. Bowing its head to every foreign power's whim, I took up arms in the form of the mighty pen. I fought tirelessly on the battlefield of news, all in the name of justice and righteousness. Yes, Minimoism is the paragon of justice. Well, he just seemed to be pretty fucking full of himself, but again, I can't exactly deny or disagree with his claims that the government was pretty lax in their treatment of Miss Brett, so I can understand his frustration and what might have drove him to such extremes. But yeah. And then we fucking totally owned his ass. Mini Mimo is blasting off again. The instant the first drop of the reagent touched the nib of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me, and I decided to do it on a whim. Well, that's not very nice. I excused myself and emptied all the ink down the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully. And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen. Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Mini Mimo-san. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? To find out what it was made of, and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journo like me to pass up. Then why did the Englishwoman end up dead? I went to that hut, intending to quiz her on her situation. That's all. As a reporter. A known killer, enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought about it. And she just laughed in my face. Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism. Okay, geez, that's a little bit rude, don't you think? Come on. Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian. What? What did you call me? This country, with its pretensions to a justice system. Oh, to a free press. Ugh, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from. Jesus Christ. That's a little... kind of fucked up, my dude. That's when I remembered about the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible. But I couldn't! I couldn't let her get away with what she'd done, when she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journo spirit, getting all fired up. Well, geez. Yay! We did it! Can I get my confetti, please? I'd like to ask you something. Yeah? You often talk about justice. But surely, as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought. There's no justice in the press. Sorry. After that trial 9 months ago, I kept digging and digging to find out what happened in that courtroom. And finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up, that's what it was. A cover-up? What do you mean? I would remind you of your position, witness. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on! Doesn't it strike you as strange? We're certainly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction could never have come into it. Yet that puffed-up Englishwoman was gonna sail away into the sunset, a free woman. Yeah, I mean, normally you would think, like, just being in a foreign country does not mean you, like, are immune to that country's laws, normally. The only possible explanation is that, behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan. What sort of deal? I done my research. I dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. He came under pressure from the government, you mean? If our government is gonna let criminals walk free, and they're gonna crush the free press, then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself? Let's not forget, Minimimo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. Yeah, I mean, that part's pretty not cool. Like, framing, you know, like, innocent girls about, you know, murder is kind of a bad. Even though I can understand your position. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. She's pretty iffy. What? The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all. I suppose. Jeez, that's kind of depressing. It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Naruhodo. That's me. I'm Ryotaro. That's me. Yes, ahem. Sorry, Your Excellency, you're just musing in a manly way here. You know, like a man musing about. It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's exploits. Oh, Naruhodo's... Ryunosuke, you mean? The way he handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one, it gives me hope that we are genuinely entering a new era of justice in this land. That's very flattering, Your Excellency. Thank you. Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most keenly that the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries. Oh, thank you. Jeez, really put me over something fierce. So, Prosecutor Auchi, do you have any final thoughts? Oh, wait, what? You okay, man? Is that like a bird feeder? I'm not sure. Prosecutor Auchi? I, Takasuchi of the Auchi clan, have been bested by a callow youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it is withered and died here today. Good gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it? Silence! Rather than living on in shame... Okay, dude, you don't gotta go that far, man. It's not that serious. It's just a court of law. Just fucking put the knife down, my guy. I will end it all now with this blade. For that is a true path to Auchiism. Auchiism? One hopes that that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after the witness. Okay, come on, man. It's not that serious. Just calm down. Snake of my top-knot. The time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Takasuchi. Oh, it's cutting off his dumb little top knot now? Is that he's gonna do seppuku, but for his hair? That's pretty cheesy. Also, this music's a little over dramatic, but okay. Oh, there it goes. All his hope and his dreams flying away. Oh, man, look at fucking Susato. Jesus, fucking praying for the guy. Oh, and look at Sazeki too. That's pretty silly. Okay, well that was pretty fucking silly. but I enjoy it. I'll take it. We need a little bit of silliness in our lives from time to time. Especially after that fucking depressing bit with Mini Mimo. Now, in regard to the defendant, Ray Mimbami-san. Yes, Your Excellency. I have reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Yeah. Now that's the kind of good shit we like to see. Yeah, Sakura Blossoms aren't quite as good. I mean, they're basically as good as confetti, I guess. Court is adjourned. 13th of August, 2:38 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants, Antechamber 3. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave things off for here. And it's already going pretty long, and I could probably maybe wrap up the whole case. I don't know how long this like epilogue stuff is going to take, because I don't know. I remember in the last couple in the last game rather, in like the last couple cases, like the after case talking took up a good chunk of time. So I feel like maybe saving that for the next episode, and then maybe starting the next case would be the optimal way of doing things. At least that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, we got her not guilty. We got to see Auchi do seppuku for his hair, and we figured out who killed Giselle Brett. And TBH, she did kind of have it coming, you know. I mean, like, again, I get what Susato was saying, because like doing a murder is like bad, and framing it on an innocent person is even badder. But like, again, I can understand Minimo's positions and why he felt driven to do what he did, because like she was being a really not nice, you know. So yeah, and like also again, she's a murderer who was allowed to walk free, and was presumably going to stay free after she was transported to Shanghai to consular court. So yeah, that part was kind of depressing, but either way, we got Ray off, so I consider that an absolute win. So in the next episode, I will finish the epilogue, post case stuff, and depending on how long that takes, we will probably then start the second case. But until then, I will see you around.